This is my safety razor, and I love it to pieces. This is the razor that I use to shave. It is an old-fashioned double-sided safety razor, and it's awesome. I just barely ordered a set of blades and was kind of shocked to realize that the last time I ordered blades was in 2016, which means one pack of blades purchased for around $20 lasted me 4 years. And for that reason, I'm going to say that this is cheaper than Dollar Shave Club and it works really well. So let's talk about the history of the razor and explain why I like this thing. Before the advent of the safety razor, people were shaving with straight razors of various kinds. We find these all the way back to the Stone Age. It's possible to shave in the Stone Age with a shard of obsidian. It's also possible in the Bronze Age. We find lots of razors. It's a huge part of Egyptian culture. It's a fairly interesting part of a lot of Mediterranean cultures, although it didn't catch on in Rome until quite a bit later. Funny thing, one of the best reports that we have of shaving in the ancient world comes from Alexander the Great. But more on that in a video where I'm going to try shaving with a bronze razor, so that's a thing to look forward to. Before that, I mean, it's literally just somebody holding a knife very carefully against your skin. And it's typically not even you that's shaving this way, it's somebody else shaving you. Which, you know, could be dicey. This is an old-fashioned safety razor. It doesn't have cartridges, but it does have replaceable blades. This style of double-sided safety razor was invented by King Gillette, or at least he's the one who popularized it, around 1900. And then they became very popular after World War I, brought home a bunch of GIs who had been trained up on these. They call it a safety razor because before inventions like this, it was really just a knife, like a really, really sharp knife that people were using. And you call it a razor because if you sharpen it to the level where it's a razor, you can no longer use it as an everyday knife. So the scenes from the movies where the guy's like shaving with a Bowie knife, if he's doing that, then the Bowie knife is not useful for all the Bowie knife things you need to do. But this thing is a specialty razor for shaving hair with this curved edge on the top that's designed to prevent you from cutting yourself. Because unfortunately, shaving with a straight razor requires a fair amount of skill, and skill requires time to put in to learn the skill. And so before the invention of safety razors like this, people had to rely on barbers. If you find images or paintings or depictions of people shaving, you know, more than about 100 years ago, most of the time they're not shaving themselves, they're being shaved by somebody else. And that's kind of interesting to me. This invention of the safety razor, the first safety razor really comes out in about 1880. Before that, there were some inventions as early as the 1700s that kind of fit on a normal straight razor. But what they allowed is they dropped the amount of skill required to shave. And if there's less skill, then it's lower barrier to entry and frankly lower risk for a person to shave themselves. Which means I don't have to go to a barber every time I want to shave. Not saying that everybody who uses a straight razor has to go to a barber every time, but because there is that extra investment of time required, it is more likely that you're going to have to trust somebody else to do it. The crazy thing about this razor is it uses really cheap blades. This one is starting to get old on me, so I'm going to remove it. What I do is I take the blade like this and I turn my handle, which unscrews just like that. And as soon as it's out, I have the head separate. And what I'm going to do is just disassemble it like that. And then right here we've got the blade. So I'm going to pop that out. And it's really amazing that manufacturing came so far by the 1800s that we could do this. I mean, look at that. This is a razor blade. This is a piece of steel. That's like this. Super dangerous. This is actually very sharp, even though it's too dull to be comfortable to shave with. So then I grab one of these. Packs of these are ridiculously cheap. Each blade costs like 5 cents. So I'm going to take off the paper wrapping like so. And remove the blade. Okay. Nice thing is there's no plastic on these, which means if they go in a landfill they just rust. Then I take this part, I assemble the blade onto here. Right now it's flat, but being forced into the head here actually puts a curve into it. So all the angles are exactly the way you want them to be. There's that. Goes on like so. And then I screw that on. And I'm ready to go. Just like so. Oh, that's better. So there's three aspects to this thing. First off is the price. On raw price, it outcompetes basically everything. Except maybe sharpening up that Bowie knife or shaving with a rock. But I also find it fascinating that it's actually a really good shave. I enjoy this razor. And as soon as I looked into the history and learned what this had done for democratizing shaving, I started to like it even more. The crazy thing about this is that before this type of razor, people had to go to a barber. And maybe that's not so bad. Maybe it's actually a really enjoyable thing to be able to socialize at the barber shop. That's not something we really do anymore. And you could maybe say that that is a net negative to society. But on the whole, I get really excited about technologies that decrease our reliance on other people. Because suddenly, it's not someone else holding a razor blade to my throat, it's me. This is in my hands now. And the barrier to entry, because the skill level required is not as high, is nowhere near as bad as it used to be. It's not terrifying to shave anymore. I mean, it's something you can trust a 12-year-old to do. I mean, if you're a really hairy 12-year-old. I don't know why, but the area that I find the most unpleasant to shave, no matter what style of razor I'm using, is the mustache. If you ever want to see a really funny video, check out Rhett and Link's How to Kill a Mustache. It is hysterical. But with a nice fresh blade here, it's not that bad. I mean, even without shaving cream. The crazy thing about this type of blade is, even if you decided to shave, I mean, with a brand new blade every single day, which I don't, I change blades about once a week. I mean, that's 5 cents a day, which is pretty doable. But where I'm spending like 5 cents a week, that's pretty good. One less thing, right? As always, thank you for watching. If you would like to buy a razor like the one I use, you can find one in the Amazon link below, together with the razor blades that I use. It's worth trying.